going to take a look at the picture. Tell me when you're ready for me to move on to the next one. Take a look at it. You're ready for me to move on? Yes. Take a next look at it. Let me move on now. Let's look at it. You have to look at those pictures. Right? Good. Next one again. This is the last one. Take a look at it. So by looking at those pictures on the computer there, right? Anybody get any idea about the story that we will be doing this afternoon? Yes?
Our own strategy Trump the boy and the girl.
The old witch trying to trap the boy and girl. I like that respond. Any more? Any more respond? Anything else? By looking at this picture? No? Okay, good. So I have a few questions before I tell you exactly the story that we'll be looking at this afternoon, right? Good. So, how would you feel? How would you feel if you were lost in a forest? Scared? Frightened? How would you feel if you were abandoned by one of your family members? Sad? Okay. And how would you feel, or let me say, or let me ask the question, have you ever made a difficult decision in your life? Have you ever made a difficult decision? Yes? No? Okay. And what would you do if you couldn't find your way home? Cry?
Call somebody.
Call somebody. Okay, good. So by looking at those pictures, and by answering these questions, I'm going to introduce to you our story for today. And I want to know all of you who heard of this story before, or probably seen it on your YouTube video. All of you watch YouTube here?
No.
No? You don't watch YouTube? Okay, good. So our story for this afternoon is Hansel and Gretel. Anybody ever heard of that story?
Yes.
No? You never heard of that story? Okay, Zakari. Good. So our story that we're looking at is Hansel and Gretel, right? And this story here, it shows us family, it shows us courage, it shows us making good decisions and bravery. Or we say courage, right? Good. So anybody know anything about the story? Anybody know who heard of the story before? You know anything about it? Let me see. They were captured by a witch. Anything else?
And the two kids that cook the lady in the oven.
They cooked the lady in the oven. I like that part. Anything else, Parvish? Would you like to add anything? They find Zakari said they find a man and the man were going to kill them. Right? Good, but there are so many things. There are so many things that are attached to this story. And this is such a wonderful story. I love this story, and that's why I choose this story to do it with you today. So that you're going to know about the bravery. You're going to know about the family, the love, the courage, making good decisions. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this story. And then from there, we will be doing some more questioning, right? As I said, it is a very interactive lesson, right? So you can ask many questions as you want. You ask me all the questions you want. So I'm going to go quickly through the story. And this story, it says it's a very sad story. Like you said, if you get lost in the forest, you're going to be sad. If a family members abandon you, you're going to be sad, right? Good. So the story is that I'm about to read is a very sad story, and it is also a story of hope. So take courage and let us read on. Once upon a time, on the edge of a big dark forest, lived a woodcutter. So in the picture, didn't you see a woodcutter?
Yes.
Yes, good. And his wife and two children. You also see two children, isn't that so?
Yes.
Good. His son was called Hansel and his daughter Gretel. The family had lived in their humble cottage for many years. They had been happy enough, but now everything had changed. War had come and family has spread across the land. Often the children just had a small chunk of bread for dinner to keep up them going through the night. As time went on, it got worse. Sometimes there was nothing at all for dinner. The children often laid awake at night because their stomach were rumbling with hunger. You know when you're hungry, your belly does rumble, or they say your belly does tag. Yes, so that is what happening. That is what was happening to the children, right? Good. So let me see who want me to go on with the story. You find it interesting? Do you want to know what really happened to Hansel and Gretel?
Yes, miss.
Okay, good. Let's go on. They were complained though. Sorry, they never complained though. They understood that there was nothing to be done. They were very brave. One night, as they lay in bed, their stomach rumbled with hunger. They heard voices. Their father and stepmother were arguing in the kitchen, which was right next to Hansel and Gretel's room. They were speaking in angry whispers, loud enough for Hansel and Gretel to hear. "We can't go on like this," the children heard their stepmother say. "You know there isn't enough for the four of us to eat," said their stepmother. "If there were only 2 mouths to feed, we might still have hope." So when you hear about that now, what do you think the stepmother idea is?
The children take with the children.
To get take with the children, right? Yes, that's true. Go into the forest. So the father said, "What do you mean? We should take Hansel and Gretel into the forest and leave them there," she replied. "Then it would be just me and you. We could get by, just the 2 of us." "I can't believe you would even think that," said the father. The children could hear the sadness in his voice. "It's the only way, otherwise we will all starve. The two of us can have more children in the future. We must just get through these difficult times." But Hansel and Gretel, to feed their father, said nothing. "Tomorrow we will take them into the forest. We wouldn't bring them home with us," their stepmother insisted. She had always been a selfish woman, but now she was desperate too. Hansel and Gretel lay silently for a while, not daring to speak if they get caught up. He put on his threadbare coat and crept to the door. "Where are you going?" whispered Gretel. "Go to sleep," said Hansel. "I will be back soon." The next morning, when the children awoke, their room was filled with sunlight. They had slept late. The smell of fresh bread wafted through the house. Their stepmother had baked. This would usually have made the children happy. This morning, it filled them with dread. So, what do you think the stepmother would do after that?
Take them to the forest.
Good. So
Or
she
abandon.
and abandon them. I like that word, right? So yes, she would take them into the forest. So she is a very selfish stepmother, isn't that so? Right? And that comes to the question, what would you do if a family member abandoned you? So you see how important it is to ask questions and to know your knowledge before we get into our story. Good. Do you want me to go on?
Yes, miss.
Okay. "Come along, children," their stepmother called. "We are going to collect wood in the forest." Hansel and Gretel looked at one another. So it was happening. Their father had of their stepmother, they got dressed gloomily. They wore an extra layer under their clothes, although the sun was out. It would be cold in the forest. So the children were already prepared to be left in the forest, right? So you see where the sadness come in? Their stepmother passed each child a big chunk of bread. Then the whole family set off. They walked deeper and deeper into the forest to where the sunlight could no longer reach. Their stepmother led the party. Then came their father, followed by Hansel and Gretel, trailed along behind. Every now and then, he would stop for a moment and look back. "I'm just admiring the way the sun makes the leaf glisten," he said. Finally, their stepmother stopped. "We will light a fire here to keep warm," she said. "You children can wait by the fire. Your father and I will go a little further to collect wood. Eat your bread." At this point, the children already know that they are going to be abundant, right? Good. So the children knew this is where they are going to be abundant. They watched but said nothing as their father and stepmother walked away. Imagine if you are in that situation. "What are we going to do?" Gretel asked. "Go home," replied Hansel. "Come on, all we have to do is follow the trail." "What trail?" Gretel said. They led us in a roundabout way. I don't think we will ever be able to go home." Gretel was close to tears. Her father and stepmother had left them to die in the forest. But Hansel was remarkably cheerful. "Look," he said to Gretel. Her eyes followed to where he was pointing. She saw what looked like little diamonds dotted along the chain of a necklace. Do you know what, or can you tell me what Hansel did? Huh?
He followed him.
He followed them? Okay, so while Hansel and his sister with his mother and stepfather were going into the forest, anybody know what he did?
He put down a trail.
He put on a trail. Anybody know what trail? What did he use?
Like
He used
stones,
finding something.
Yes, very good. He used some stones and they are called pebbles. I remember at the beginning of the story when the father and stepmother were whispering and they were planning to leave the children in the forest. When the stepmother, Hansel, went out that night, yes, he went to collect those pebbles, right? So he collected the pebbles and Hansel said proudly, "Together they looked at the pebbles sparkling in the sun. We can follow them all the way home." So they did, right? Good. So at this point here, the children know that they were going to reach home safe. They followed the pebble and they reached home. Their father saw Hansel and Gretel emerge from the forest and walk up the garden path to the cottage. He was asking some more questions. Remember I said interactive lesson, isn't that so? And I want you to interact with me. What was the most important lesson from the story? Anybody know? I would say the most important lesson, or what I enjoy most about the story, is that even though Hansel making hard decisions, right? Yes, I think that's correct, because remember, the family had nothing to eat, but the stepmother decided that she should leave the children in the forest. Was that right to do? No, that was wrong, right? And then it says here, let me hear. Which character would you like to be friend with and why?
Hansel.
Hansel?
Yeah.
Every one of you want to be friend with Hansel?
Yeah.
And why you would like to be friend with Hansel?
Because
he's
he's
brave.
brave.
Okay, good. And he's
And
smart.
listens.
Very good. He's smart and he's brave, right?
He made good choices.
Good. How can courage help us in everyday life? How do you think courage can help us?
It tells us what to do correct and what to do, like from right from wrong.
Right from wrong, right? Good. Courage help us every day, because sometimes, no matter what, we can face a difficult situation, but when we are brave and when we have courage, we could go through that easily, right? Just like Hansel and Gretel. Y'all enjoy the story?
Yes, miss.
Good, I enjoy the story too. I love that story. That is my favorite story. That's called Anna Fairy Tale, isn't that so?
Yes.
Good. So you can go home, read up on it, and you can also go on YouTube. There are many videos, short videos with Hansel and Gretel story, right? Good. So that is the end of our lesson. Did you enjoy?
Yes,
Did
miss.
you learn anything?
Yes.
What did you learn?
To be poverty.
To be poor.